Hello people, here I am back from my little venture down at the micro shops. I think I may have just about broken even, but then I bought food because I was hungry. But I have to say it was a wonderful experience when it comes to community building, exchanges with other cultures and general good fun. The experience was wonderful, I have to say. I mean, it's the Carl Street Micro Shops is a very well run, very welcoming place in the first place. The amount of and variety of stalls where it comes to both food, hair braiding, jewellery, trinkets, etc., is massively wonderful. The people with the local radio station who were there were kind of cool as well, you know. And there were various community projects and community project leaders there, many of whom I already know. Hi, Ed. And Elaine, hi. Many friends popped in to show their moral support, which was I was very grateful for. Would have been nicer if a few more people bought stuff, but there you go. I understand we live in tough times. Hey, I might well do a little YouTube video of stuff I've got for sale, especially for my subscribers. If that would interest you, let me know. Because obviously, as I think I've stated before, at the moment I have basically zero monthly income. So, you know, that's why I do things like, you know, do the occasional stall or something like that. But yeah, a community police officer who I know was there, and me and her had a good laugh. Many people who I see day to day came strolling and went, "Oh, I didn't know you were here today." You know, it's a bit of a short notice thing, I must admit. You know, that's what I do. I'm impulsive, and that is a part of my nature that can be a problem at times, but it can also be quite good. You know, but all in all, a very good day. And one thing I took away from that is because me and the other stall holders, we wind each other up all the time. It's good-natured banter. And this is really the subject of this video. There is a difference between good-natured banter and victimisation. But also, there is a measure the other way as well. You've got to put up with a certain amount of good-humoured banter in any social situation. If you can't take it, then there's something wrong with you. But there's a line. That line is defined differently for different people, depending on how thick-skinned you are, I think. But we need to recognise this. Now, in my last full-time job, they crossed the line too many times between banter and victimisation and insults. The amount of times I heard, "You'll never learn nothing from a book. What are you reading for?" To which I replied to my supervisor straight off the top of the hat, "I don't know, so I don't end up working in a steel yard for the rest of my life." That made me public enemy number one from that day forth. But, you know, so many times in my last full-time job, it crossed over from good-natured banter to outright bullying, simply because people realised I gave as good as I got and they didn't like it. But you've got to bite back against these people. Possibly sometimes I went over the top with it. I often do. I've got no filter. A lot of people take me the wrong way. I understand that. But yeah, that's just who I am. And if people don't like it, they can hook off, you know. If we happen to be stuck in the same place, then tough, we've got to deal with it. coffee. I'll be moving on to something a little less caffeinated and more alcoholic later. But yeah, the other temporary stall holders I was hanging around with were great people. More people wanted their photograph taken with me than wanted to buy stuff. So maybe, as my partner turned around and said earlier, I should have started charging for photos, you know. Or said, yeah, you can have a photo if you buy something. Yeah, what do you reckon, darling? Yeah, but, you know, no harm done. There's a nice young lad who's just come over from India to study an MSc in management. Hi there, pal. I didn't catch your name, but if you're watching this goes out to you. Shout out for you. Very pleasant, and thought that I was definitely not a typical Englishman. And I was like, yeah, no shit. Because I'm not. The stereotypical Englishman is very reserved, quite softly spoken, hides his feelings. That's about it, isn't it, darling? Yeah, and that is most definitely not me. So yeah, and that's just who I am. And it phases a lot of people, but a lot of people really like it. I met the most wonderful, what was his name? Young Labrador who's a trainee therapy dog, Chester. Little black Labrador, youngster. He was lovely. He really was. He was such a fusspot. He loved a bit of fuss, he did. He really did, and he was gorgeous. Back to the subject matter, yeah. I mean, and when I complained about the height of bullying, victimisation and abuse, verbally, I was basically told it's a steelyard, deal with it. That's when I knew I wasn't going to be long there. The fact that I hung on for 7 years, where five of them were like that, is probably why by the time I left there, I was drinking upwards of 2.5, nearly 3 bottles of red wine a night just to cope with going in the next day. And I would literally drive into work hungover, thinking, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. I was very close to a mental breakdown. I mean, this was, 8 years ago when it done? Yeah. And this is the effect people can wittingly or unwittingly have, especially on people with neurodivergent, I don't like the phrase, but you know what I mean, differently wired brains. They prejudge you. The amount of times I got told there, why can't you just be normal? Why do you have to behave like that? And my answer was, well, because that's what I am. I can't help it. I can't mask. In fact, it was trying to mask that was hurting me more than anything else. Because a lot of people can do this, and respect to you if you can. You can fit into everyday life because you've got very good at wearing a mask. I don't have that capacity. I just am who I am. And as my grandmother used to say, I am who I am and I can't be no hammer. She was Suffolk born and bred, bless her. Grandma Tricker. You know, and people just have no consideration, and many are wholly ignorant of these kinds of mental health issues. Because we do take things personally. We take things to heart to the extent that if people say they're going to do something and then they don't, which people do, we get really upset, frustrated and feel betrayed. You know, so an important thing to deal with when you're dealing with someone with high functioning ADHD or any ADHD, stroke autism, stroke Asperger's, I think as well, is don't promise something you know you're not going to be able to do. It breaks our little hearts, so it does. and it can break relationships for us as well. I had several personal relationships before my current partner where things like this happened. Whereas someone would say, oh, I'll do this, and then they'd let me down, and it would take me a long time, if ever, to trust them again. I mean, I had one ex who I distinctly remember. I mean, she was as messed up as I was at the time. I was heavy drinking, I was into other substances. This was about 30 years ago. And basically, one night, because she'd basically stayed out all night, got drunk, and I think other things were happening as well. Mind you, I was guilty of the same sort of thing. Both of us were having flings with other people while we were together. It was a hot, toxic mess of a relationship that I shouldn't have been in. And basically, to make up for it, she said, I'll get myself to yours by about 5 o'clock before you come home from work, and I'll cook us a nice meal. And I thought, oh wow, this is gonna be really cool. So I get home from work about 6 o'clock. She's not there yet. 2 hours later, she turns up with cold takeaway pizza, and that just let me down so much. I was like, really? You know, to other people who've been like, yeah, whatever, all right, I got pizza, bonus. But to me, I felt really heartbroken. I was like, literally, why did you do that? Why? You said you'd cook me a meal and you got us pizza. You know. And being like that is difficult. It means that you are shut out of certain circles. But unlike a lot of people, I actually accept that these days, because if I'm shut out of a circle, it means I wasn't meant to be there anyway. I don't expect every circle to include me. I know, for instance, I don't fit in very well with the football crowd. I don't fit in very well with people who just small talk. Can't stand small talk. I don't see the point in it. It's rubbish. Why not talk about something meaningful? Or just shut up, one of the two. I never shut up. That's one of my problems. If my partner heard me, she's probably nodding. Yep. I get a rash from some of the cheap jewellery I wear. I'm a martyr to it. It's nickel allergy. So I can always tell when something's got too much nickel in it and it's not pure silver or something. I'm like a chemical analyzer. I'm using, this rag is soaked in white vinegar and salt. So yeah, that should dry it up properly. I get the same thing from belt buckles down here. See my good friend Paula, who has her own little stall there, being handcuffed by the community police officer was hilarious, because Paula was making very leery, suggestive remarks about being handcuffed. That was funny as all hell today. That really was. I think the copper wished she hadn't have done that. Yeah, we call them coppers. You know, in the US you call them cops. That's where it comes from. There are two distinct origin stories for that. Some people say it comes from, I think it's French caper, to capture. So they're capturers of criminals, you know. Others claim it comes from the fact that their badges were made out of copper originally, back in the 19th century when they were bobbies or peelers. Robert Peel was the man who founded the modern British police service, as was. So they either became known as peelers or bobbies. Bobbies was the one that stuck in England. Now, my generation, we still occasionally call them bobbies. after Robert Peel. You know, so yeah. What else have I got to say? I don't really. I've just had a good day, even though I didn't make much of a profit. Like I said, do let me know, guys, if you would like to see a selection of my wares online, and we can sort out some kind of arrangement, okay? Because, you know, I say this near enough every video these days, but I am ridiculously poor at the moment. My partner's income may be good, but sometimes it doesn't stretch far enough. And, you know, I'm not really begging. Well, I am, aren't I? Let's face it. But yeah, I don't expect nothing, you know. So yeah, I will at some point put up a video of stuff I've got for sale. And obviously it will be easier if it's people in the UK who buy it because of import, export prices, and indeed the prices of postage. But you know, we shall see, eh? But overall, really good day. The community vibe was very strong. And yet again, I was finding it was people from other cultures other than my own that were the most welcoming and accepting of me just being me. You know, wandering around in a Viking helmet with a rubber axe. Using the steel breastplate I had for sale as a kind of like xylophone with my rings. One-man Viking band. And yeah, I even managed to play with my partner's poi without hitting myself in the bollocks, which was a damn miracle. Did you hear that, darling? Yeah, it's raised her eyebrows. And I was getting very appreciative looks from people when I was doing that outside. Because I can, you know, touch wood, be pretty good with them when I concentrate. And this is a major thing with ADHDers. When we can focus on what we're doing, we can do great and beautiful things. Never forget that. Use that focus. Use that obsession to create wonderful, beautiful ideas and things. This is what we were put here to do, I feel. Most people I know who are on the spectrum are very creative. You've just got to find your passion and use it. So yeah, I mean, I didn't realise I could sing until I was over 30. I didn't really start woodcrafting or reenacting till I was well over 30. I wrote a lot when I was a teenager. I've only just started writing things again, and it's sporadic because I still find that difficult to concentrate on. I'm much better at spoken word mediums like this, I think. Yeah. But all in all, a good day. I'm spending this evening relaxing. I'll probably make myself some burgers later. Well, not make them. They're already made. But I've got a burger maker hidden somewhere in the kitchen. So, you know. I'll promise. Well, I might do a cooking video at some stage just for a laugh. You know. It's something to do. That'll be all right. Anyway, thanks very much for listening. I hope you've had a good day yourselves, or a good evening, depending on what part of the world you're in. And I see I'm getting some attention in Canada. Hello, Canadians, we love you. Shout out to anybody who's from Canada. Fist pump. We love you over in Britain. We really do. It's always been one of my dreams to visit Canada. I'd probably end up staying there. That, or Australia, New Zealand, Alaska, Iceland. Yeah, two extremes there, Australia and Iceland, you know. But I am a person of extremes, always have been. And that ain't going to change. Don't change yourself to fit in. Find places that you fit in. That is a secret to life that I'm sharing with you lovely people. So, V for victory, keep on fighting, don't give up, but fight smart. Fight smart, fight well, fight with honour, and never give in. Peace and love, and to any viewers in India, namaste.